So Jess, I know you've been on these calls before, but Troy, for you, they're pretty laid back, pretty low key. We don't have any like huge set agenda. We just think it's nice to bring together, people who are racing Mesa for the first time with Jess, who is an expert. She has raced both the half and the full on multiple occasions. So she knows far more about this race than I do. If you have any questions, if there are more people, I'll continue to monitor and admit them as they come. But don't feel like you need to like raise your hand. You can just unmute yourself and ask a question. But I usually just start by asking Jess to share her experience with the race, and then we just kind of free for all it from there. It's super informal, super casual.
Yeah. Have you ran the half or the full before, Troy?
I have not. I do a lot of half Ironmans, and I've done a bunch of marathons, including Boston, multiple times in the past. But my uh, my oldest daughter qualified for Boston, and she wants me to run. So I just picked out a marathon to requalify for. So background,
Awesome.
I've run all my marathons under 3 hours, but the last road marathon I've done was 10 years ago. Uh, Run as fast as 246, most of them in the low 250s. So, but I'm just looking to qualify, which I know for my age group, I'm 50. Age group standards 320, but I know times are trending about 5 to 7 minutes faster. So I've been training for the 18-week program at, probably about three hours to 310 more than
Okay.
likely, just trying to stay healthy and not get injured. So,
Okay. Well, Mesa is a great course to PR. I'm sure you've heard of that. I'm sure
yeah,
I had my first BQ years ago there. I've BQ'd since there as well, and I think I had a 10-minute half PR there a long time ago. So it's just a very good course. I'm not doing it this year, but it's a very good course. It starts very early in the morning. So they bus you up there very early in the morning. And I would say give yourself time to get there because last year, compared to the first year I did it, I didn't have as much time. I thought I had a lot of time, but there were way more people last year than when I first qualified, which was I don't know, before COVID. And BC before COVID. So I don't know, there wasn't as many people then. And last year was very busy. And I got there, the bathrooms were really full. You had to get your bag checked to the bag check area really quickly. Like they cut it off. And when they cut it off, they closed the van. And like, because you have kind of a wait. So you're probably going to want to you've done Boston before, so probably take your shoes. If you're taking like racers, like I would wear regular shoes, like old sneakers or something like old trainers or old shoes that you don't mind throwing away, and then put your racers on when you get up there. At least because you're
got
there
it.
for so long, and you don't typically like in Boston. I do the same. I don't want to have racers on. Elaina, or you probably say the same for a long wait. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I was at Mesa last year because my husband, Brant, was racing the half, and it actually got delayed like 10 or
Oh
15 minutes
yeah.
before because the highway was so backed up.
Yeah.
So definitely to reiterate Jess's point, get there early. Yeah, just plan for extra time. Like you'd rather just be there early, sitting around and having something warm, having an extra snack versus being stressed about getting there
Yeah.
under the wire. I know that's happened to athletes at other races, and then they've had to join a corral slower than what they were planning to race, which impacted their, pacing strategy and everything like that. Hopefully they don't run into those issues this year with the highway being backed up, but I would just
Yeah.
say, yeah, just give yourself extra time just to eliminate some of that stress on race morning.
They're trying to get everybody up there. You start in the dark.
Mhm.
So you will start in the dark, which is they have lights, they have big lights up there. So it's not bad. I mean, it's not
You don't need a headlamp or anything.
no, no, you don't need a headlamp. It's they have lights lighting the road, so you're fine, and there's so many people. But I will say last year because of all the late buses, and the marathon actually started on time still. They started and people were still in the bathroom line. So people were like jumping fences and trying to go to the bathroom like everywhere because it was insane. So like, again, I'm going to just reiterate, give yourself enough time. I typically am like, I just want enough sleep, but I do give myself normally enough time. And I thought I had plenty of time, and I started at the start time, but I felt very rushed. I didn't like that. I
Yeah.
felt very rushed. So give yourself time. Just like with Boston, take yourself some snacks in the morning because you're going to need something to eat other than the breakfast you have in your hotel room, because you will have that time. And then the race itself is the first 5 miles is a very steep downhill. So I always say really, but mile 5 and 6 are uphill. So, and I think it gains around 101 feet. You gain a lot in those 2 miles that you're running uphill, but it's so early on the race that it's great that it's so early. But if you run those first 5 miles too fast, you're going to kill yourself. It's going to hurt going up those hills. So try not to bank miles, bank time in those first 5 miles. Really pull back there. It's hard to pull back there because it is very steep and downhill there. After those 2 uphills, you get another good, nice, gentle downhill. It's gentle downhill pretty much for the whole course until you get, kind of flattens out towards the end. Last year was a warmer year, but it's typically a very cool race and very dry. So I always tell people to drink a lot of water because you might not feel as thirsty because it is dry, you're in the desert, but you still need to drink water. And I think that that's something that people don't think about as much when you're in the desert. Typically when you start, and I haven't looked at the weather, it's next weekend, so it could change a million times, but when the first year I ran it, I think it was 40 degrees the entire time, and it was just amazing. That's, the best weather you can have for a marathon, and 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I know Elena's
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing weather the first year, or both the half marathon and the full marathon that I ran was great. And then last year, just warmer for the marathoners coming into the end around the 3 hour mark. It got warmer. Hopefully this year it won't be like that. I feel like every race last year was warmer than it needed to be. So hopefully that won't be the case. And if your training is going really well, then I'm sure it'll be good for you. I mean, what I do love about this race is there are not a lot of tangents. So you're really just going in a straight line the whole time. You have a couple turns, but you're really spot on with like your time and the distance. I love that.
So a couple questions for you both. At the start line, if it's going to be in the 40s and it's dark, do you just bring a bunch of throwaway clothes, and then do you also keep on like a long sleeve shirt that you just discard maybe a couple miles in when you warm up, or what would you recommend at that point? And then also the follow-up question is, with the first 5 miles being kind of that pretty significant or downhill running, pulling back, yes, I understand, but when you say pull back, are you saying pull back to what your pace per mile throughout the course of the race would be, or are you saying go ahead and go a little bit faster, 5-10 seconds faster is fine, just don't go out and let gravity take you at 30 seconds faster per mile?
Yeah. Did you want to answer first, Jess, and then I can
Go ahead, Elaina, with that one, and then I'll
Yeah, I guess I have not raced Mesa full, but I've raced Boston. It sounds like Mesa's decline is steeper than Boston's, but how I approached Boston when I raced is like, don't force the pace. Recognize that gravity, the incline, will probably already take you a bit faster than your goal marathon pace if you are running on a flat. If it comes naturally, the effort is easy and you feel like you're running marathon effort, great. But I don't say like, as Jess mentioned earlier, like don't try to use the downhills to bank time. Well, I know I always blow up at mile 21 or whatever. It never works that way. Trying to bank time doesn't work. So it's like lean into your effort, recognizing that might equate to being a couple seconds per mile faster. But as long as it's not forced, I'd say you're probably okay. Just like let the course do the work for you and not you do extra work on the downhill. That's what I would
Okay.
say.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to feel easier there. It's going to feel very easy. You're on fresh tapered legs too. And it does really feel, I mean, you feel the gravity taking you down there. So don't force anything. Your effort is going to be faster, but it shouldn't be, a whole minute faster. And,
Yeah.
and I've been actually the first year I BQ'd there, my last 10K was faster than my first 10K. I was extremely proud of that because I was like, I held back there so that I could feel good at the end, because with a downhill race, and it is different than Boston, because Boston, when you're running downhill, you're with 30,000 people there.
Yep.
So it's crowded. We've all ran Boston. This is different. It's so spread out. So you have the room to run fast. So you can run really fast and get caught up really quickly if you wanted to. And so just allow yourself to like breathe, take it in. Don't try to bank the time, because your quads will physically not be able to run fast at the end because you're running downhill for so long. It's not a revel race where you're running down a mountain, but you are running a significant downhill those first 5 miles. And then after the hills at miles, I think 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, one of the two, those are uphill, but right after that, you're right back downhill. And they're not bad. I would just say same thing, lean into your effort on the uphills. Like, for a fact, the uphills are going to be a slower pace. Don't even look at your watch. It's too early in the race to even care really about what your pace is there. Just you're getting up the hills and then getting down the hills there.
Perfect.
Yeah, and from your perspective, you mentioned a couple minutes ago, obviously female gear might look a little different than male gear. But yes, I always have throwaway clothes because you do not want to be shivering at the start line of a race. If you are shivering, you are burning glycogen, which you want for the actual racing portion. So like I go to a Salvation Army, a Value Village, a thrift store, whatever. Beforehand, I buy like a $5 sweater and pair of sweatpants. And a trick that I do is if it's a cuffed sweatpant, I actually cut the couple inches from the bottom, because cuffs, it's like, oh, I'd have to sit down, take off my shoes, take off the pants, and then put my shoes back on. If I cut the sweatpants, then I can just pull them off over my shoes. So yeah, I always buy cheap throwaway clothes. I'll usually go to the dollar store or something and buy like the thin gloves too, so that if 10 miles into the race, I'm warmed up, I can throw them to the side and they're not like my nice expensive Lululemon gloves. So I just buy a pair of throwaway gloves from like a Walmart or a dollar store. Sometimes I'll have a headband or arm warmers. I don't typically wear a long sleeve shirt when I'm racing. I think I've only ran one marathon with a long sleeve, but it was like gale force winds. So yeah, usually I'll rely on arm warmers, headband, and gloves, because you do warm up pretty quickly. And then yeah, I just wear stuff that I don't care if I have to throw it away. And then yeah, I was glad that Jess mentioned like the dry heat of the desert too. Like if you're not someone that's like, oh, I never take fluids in the course, I just take my gels, or just being mindful that, yeah, you will likely have a bit of a drier throat there. So whether that is taking a cup or two from the aid stations, or I personally run with a handheld flask with a carb mix or a carb drink, you just might notice your throat being a bit more dry.
Yeah. The race is very well put together. They don't run out of anything. It's a very organized race, except for the traffic jam, which I think was an accident. And that's what happened. It wasn't their fault. It was just an accident. It's just so early in the morning. I think that there was an accident and it clogged up the freeway. But pretty much everyone I know that's run this race has had a great experience at it. So I love that you're doing it with your daughter, or you're doing it to run Boston with your daughter.
Yeah.
It's like a dream of mine. My son is almost 16 and I'm like, when you get old enough you qualify for Boston and we'll run together. That's amazing. Is she going with you?
No, she isn't, but I got my other daughters going out and she's doing the 10K, and my wife and friends and stuff. And that was one of my other questions for y'all. Would this be in a point-to-point race? I assume that there's not good, like when I've run Chicago or other races where you get to see people multiple times throughout the event. There's probably, you pick a couple spots and that's kind of where you'll see family and friends.
Yeah. So my husband, you could probably look it up, but I think my husband saw me 2 or 3 times last year. There's different parking lots. He went to a school around mile 20. And he saw me there. He saw me early on around mile 7. And you can look in the map and it'll say spectator,
Okay.
where the spectators can get to. Because it is a point to point, there are places. He had rented a car, so he just drove up through the back way and got in, and then was able to. There's a good amount of spectators throughout the course. I mean, it's not, a world major or anything, but there's a good amount of spectators throughout the course. But it also gives you that time to just zone out and do your own thing and just focus on the run too.
Yeah. And I was going to say, my experience last year when my husband raced the half, I had our dog. So I just went to the finish line. I didn't see him, the first 12 miles of the race. But on that note, the finishing area, so easy to navigate. Like he crossed the finish line, 2 minutes later, I saw him. So again, not a world major where you really have to get corralled out and go around the block and come back down, like super easy. Like it was just obviously very spectator friendly, very easy to navigate that finish line area, everything. So really easy to link back up with friends and family in my experience from last year.
Awesome.
Yeah, they have a whole, when you finish, you'll know your time, but you can go right to they have a big tent that will print you a receipt of your time. And if you qualify for Boston, they ring all the bells for you, which I thought was pretty cool. And they gave me a luggage tag that said shipping up to Boston. So I don't know. I thought that was cute, like a cute little touch, You don't get that at a lot of races. So
yeah. Jess, now maybe this wasn't a concern because you were in the marathon, but I know Brant was doing the half, and I think there was 10K runners coming in at the same time, but maybe that was not really a thing for the full marathoners because I'm assuming 10K runners would have finished by then. But that was just something I noticed last year is that there were other runners in other distances crossing at the same time as half marathoners. But
I could see that happening. Also, I think he ran the half marathon pretty fast too.
He did, yeah.
Probably would be finishing at the same time as 10Kers. But I mean, yes, I guess for marathoners, you could. When I did pass some half marathoners that were walking towards the end. So they're pretty mindful of staying to the right of the road. So, again, there's so much room on the roads. They close down the roads basically. Yeah. So you're not bobbing and weaving around a ton of people or anything like that. Not for the marathon, at least. For the half marathon, you could be more, but not for the marathon as much.
Yeah.
Okay.
The race itself, again, is very organized. I look at those things too, Elaina. Like if even if you're running a 10K and there's 5K walkers bobbing over, but it wasn't too bad. So
yeah. I once had a sprint finish with a 12-year-old boy that was in a 5K, and I was in the Canadian half marathon championships. And I had to weave around this kid that I knew was in the 5K. I'm like, really? I'm doing my finishing kick and he just totally got in my way. I'm like, oh.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. So what are your concerns, Troy?
None. It was just more the logistical stuff that you guys addressed at the beginning. It looks like, based on what I've seen, be ready for the bus by 4:15 a.m. Correct, because the last bus leaves at 4:30, but allow plenty of time to get down there, and then plan on having up to an hour plus sitting in the dark, the cold. If you do get up there on time, unlike last year.
I also say they have those heat lamps. So they have heat lamps up there with little table things, so you can. I know people were having oatmeal and stuff under a heat lamp with a little table. So there's heat lamps and there's little stations set up. So, I mean, I kind of I just kind of like to be by myself.
Yeah.
I don't meet a bunch of new people on race day morning. That's just me. But some people do. Some people want to go join a lot of people. But so they were sitting under the heat lamps and talking and stuff. So, you can do that and just plan on being up there, going to the bathroom. If you're dropping a bag, which I don't know if you are, I dropped a bag because I wanted to keep, I don't remember why. I had food. Maybe I had a bottle or something that I wanted. So I just threw it in and
I'm not dropping a bag.
Okay. All right. I don't usually drop bags, but for this one I did.
I don't either.
Point to point. Yeah. And because this one, the bag drop pickup is so easy. I mean, because the inn, like Elaina said, is so, it's right there. So if you did need to drive, yeah. But I always forget to go pick up my bag. So I just don't, I just stop dropping bags.
And the other question I have, if it is raining by chance, do either of you know? I mean, because I've been out at Boston where it was just a torrential downpour and a nor'easter and what have you, and you can get into the gym or what have you. Can you stay on the bus? Is there any covered area, or should I plan on bringing like
A
the
poncho.
throwaway shoes and also a pair of dry socks to just put
Yeah.
on right at race time type of situation?
I would definitely take a poncho, order a poncho. I always take, no matter what race, I take, a poncho, one of those dry heat
Yeah.
things that I
The,
can sit on. The after
yep.
race blankets that I can sit on, and dry socks and dry shoes just in case. Like my racers, I just don't want my racing shoes to be wet and gross. So I just,
Or you can see like tying plastic bags around them if you don't want to bring a second pair of shoes entirely. Like I'll bring like a grocery store bag,
Yeah.
tie around my shoes, walk around so that it's just the plastic bag getting wet, and then 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, take the bag off, and then my shoes are dry.
yeah. So that's
Okay.
that's kind of what I've done in the past. That's what I've done at Boston when I ran Boston 3 times too. And I've just taken, I always take a pair of regular trainers that are so worn out. And then I feel like I'm donating them to someone.
Yep.
when I leave them. So,
Yep. I'm trying to think if there was
and you
any.
can't sit on the bus. So you do have to get out. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I think that was really about it. Just more the logistical stuff and kind of understanding what that first 5 miles was like. So,
Yeah, I mean, it is a big downhill, so you're gonna feel it. Just remember, patience is the key there. Just stay patient and, don't try to hammer it there because that's not the race, the first 5
yep.
miles. I mean, you're just in your warm up there, basically,
Were there pace groups, Jess, at all?
There are pace groups. There's pacers. There's
Yeah.
pacers, the pacers though, I think that they probably go out pretty quick because I always end up passing at Mesa. I've always ended up passing the pacers. I feel like they go out fast and then they slow down, I don't know. It's up to you.
Different pacers have different pace styles. It's like, do you run even splits, or are you running the time and recognizing you're going to have faster and slower space?
Yes, like some pacers run by effort, and some races pacers run off of the complete even splits. So yeah, I don't know. I don't typically run with pace groups, but if you need to, okay. I think you got this, Troy.
Marathoner.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time and thanks for putting this Zoom together for us. And hopefully the weather gods will cooperate.
Yeah, I'm praying that this is a better racing year, 2026. Last year was just a hot year for me.
It was a hot year. Yeah. Well,
all right.
Thank you, Jess, for hopping on the call, and thank you, Troy, for joining. I appreciate both of your time.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye,
guys. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Jess. I'm just going to make sure
Bye, Elaina.
recording. Okay, bye.